Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Tutelage, a guide to learner. Here this is Tripona. Hope all of you are doing great in your life. Today we are going to start a fresh YouTube journey on the subject education because we will share some videos on the subject education, and that is basically related to the UGC NET examination. I have my another channel Tutelage, a guide to UGC NET aspirants, and this is basically a pure Bengali channel. So if any problem arises due to language, so please go to my newly started Bengali channel. All videos will come in my both channel, and most importantly in both language also. Today we will explain some basic things of UGC NET examination. So let's start the session. So at first we have to know what do you mean by a UGC NET examination. So the UGC NET exam is basically conducted by the National Testing Agency, that is NTA, on the behalf of the University Grant Commission, that is UGC, and it is an eligibility test for candidates aspiring for a teaching career in higher education as well as for enrolling for junior fellowship research programs offered in institutions across India. So that's why at first we have to know when we are eligible for this exam. So when you are completing your master degree in any subjects with 55% marks and above, so then you are eligible for appearing this exam. So UGC NET exam is, that's why UGC NET exam is one of the most important key for applying in colleges as an assistant professor. Okay, so now move on the next. So here we can see the full form of NET and SET, and we have known two popular words, that is NET and SET. So now going to the full form. So first one is a national eligibility test, and so that's why it is an eligibility test for aspiring candidates for a teaching career in higher education in India. And now going to the SET, that is state eligibility test. It is also an eligibility test for candidates aspiring for a teaching career in higher education in the particular state only, and that is the basic differences between national eligibility test or NET or SET, that is state eligibility test. So now move on the next. So here we can see the UGC NET exam is basically a computer based test, and it takes 3 hours, and there is two paper, the paper 1 and paper 2. So paper 1 contains the 50 questions which is carrying 100 marks, that means 50 into 2, that is 100, and second paper also contains 100 questions which are carrying for 200 marks, that is 100 into 2, that is 200. So total marks is 300 and total number of question, that is 150. Okay, so now go to the syllabus of UGC NET examination. The paper 1 mostly related to the general paper, and the paper 2 basically related to the your subject paper. So I have already told that part, and now go to the syllabus. So paper 1, that is a general paper, it includes 10 units. Okay, so teaching aptitude, research aptitude, comprehensions, communications, mathematical reasoning and aptitude, and logical reasoning, data interpretation, information and communication technology, pupil development and environment, and higher education system. So now going to the some elaboration. So the first chapter, that is the teaching aptitude, it basically discusses the nature, objectives, characteristics and the basic requirements of the teaching. Okay, and this chapter also highlights the characteristics of learner, factors of affecting teacher, various methods of teaching and teaching support system or teaching aids basically. So now going to the second one, that is the research aptitude. So research aptitude focuses on the basic of research, including its meaning, objectives, characteristics and types. And now going to the third one, that is the most important for all types, all competitive exams. So that is the comprehension. So comprehension basically explains, we have already known, it explains the basics of the comprehensions, the approaches for finding answers to questions and the common mistakes which aspirants commit while answering the questions while. Okay, so now going to the chapter 4, that is the communication. So communication discusses the types of communications, barriers in communications, effective classroom communications and mass media, and most importantly society. Now go to the chapter 5, that is, or chapter unit 5. Okay, mathematical reasoning and aptitude. So mathematical reasoning and aptitude includes topics such as coding, decoding, blood relations, directions, mathematical reasoning, and chapter 6, that is logical reasoning. It includes the syllogism, square of opposition, statements, assumptions, assertion, reasoning and Indian logic, and some concepts of Indian logic. And chapter 7, that is data interpretation, and data interpretation basically highlights that to better understand data, it needs to be presented in the form of tables, charts or graphs. And now going to the unit or chapter 8, that is information and communication technology. So it discusses the role of ICT and its application in education. And chapter 9 or unit 9 discusses uh, some topics such as people and environment interactions, pollutions and its impact on environment, and some mitigation strategies for natural hazards also. And chapter 10 includes the current scenario of the education in India and its evaluation from the ancient times and the problems related to the higher educations. So this chapter includes topics on governance, polity and the administration. Okay, so now going to the paper 2. Okay, so before going to the paper 2, we have some information to all of you. So we have already told that there are 150 number of questions, and to which are carrying 2 marks. Okay, and all questions are multiple choice questions or MCQs, and in this exam there is no negative marks for incorrect answer. Okay, so for each correct answer, the candidate will get 2 marks in both paper 1 and paper 2. Okay, so now move on the next. So like paper 1, paper 2 also includes 10 units. The first unit, that is educational studies. So educational studies discusses different types of Indian schools of philosophy and Western schools of philosophy, and Indian and Western educationist, and in the preamble of the Indian constitutions also. And now going to the unit 2, that is history, politics and economics of education. So it discusses different types of commission, and what is the relation between education and economics. And now going to the third, and this is one of the most important unit or chapter of that subject education, because it is basically related to the psychological part. So this is psychological education. So learner and learning process includes different types of psychological model like Piaget model, Sternberg model, Gardner theory, etc. So now go to the fourth one, that is a teacher education, and in this unit we will discuss the process, the duration, the courses, subjects of the teacher education. Okay, and now going to the fifth one, that is the curriculum studies. So curriculum studies basically discusses the model of curriculum and the curriculum change and the factors of curriculum change, etc. Okay, so now move on the next, and the sixth unit, that is research in education. So research in education, basically a research related chapter, and the statistics portion, total statistics portions falls under this unit. Okay, so now move on the seventh unit, that is pedagogy, andragogy, and different types of assessment like formative assessment, summative assessment, diagnostic assessment, etc., and meaning of pedagogy and meaning of andragogy also, and some factors of pedagogy and andragogy, and different types of models of pedagogy and andragogy includes in this chapter also. So now move on the eighth unit, that is the technology in and technology for education, and this is basically related to the educational technology related chapter. So, and what do you mean by a technology in education and technology for education, and what type of educational technology is used in the educational field? So all things we'll discuss in this chapter. So now move on the ninth unit, that is educational management, administrations and leadership. So from name we all know this is basically related to the management, administration and leadership side, and it discusses different types of leadership model, administration model, management model also. And now move on the last unit, and that is one of the most important unit, that is inclusive education. And what do you mean by a inclusive education, history of inclusive education, and the barriers of inclusive education, and what type of educational technology is used in the field of inclusive education. All things we'll discuss in this chapter. So learner, we are done for the today's session. In this session, we have discussed the what do you mean by a UGC Net examination, its nature, its syllabus, etc. So we will explain Unit 1 of general paper, that is teaching aptitude, in my next class. So till then, stay tuned. If you have any query about it, please do comment. Last but not the least, do not forget to like, share and comment, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Happy learning.